Known as the land of fire and ice, Iceland is not only one of the safest countries in the world, but also a treasure trove of natural wonders that will take your breath away. Majestic glaciers, geysers that spew water into the sky, and the northern lights that light up the night sky make it a place straight out of a fairy tale. But that's not all. Iceland also has amazing environmental achievements, culture, and even unusual traditions that leave everyone who visits amazed and amazed. Join us as we learn 15 amazing facts about Iceland, the most unique country in the world in this fascinating travel documentary. Fact 1. Complete absence of mosquitoes. Iceland is an amazing place where it is impossible to meet mosquitoes, which makes it especially attractive for tourists. The country's unique climate with sharp temperature changes and a short summer does not allow these insects to reproduce. Even in summer, when the temperature can rise to plus 20 degrees C, the water in natural reservoirs often does not reach the necessary conditions for the survival of larvae. In addition, Iceland does not have swampy areas, which are usually the main habitat of mosquitoes. Scientists have long tried to explain this phenomenon. One of the key reasons is sudden changes in temperature. Water freezes and thaws, which destroys the life cycle of insects. Moreover, even if a mosquito accidentally gets to the island, it simply has no chance of gaining a foothold in the ecosystem. This rare natural phenomenon distinguishes Iceland from other countries, and locals are proud of it. Imagine a summer without mosquito bites, a real dream for many, which can be realized in Iceland. Fact 2. 99% of energy comes from renewable sources. Iceland is one of the world leaders in clean energy. Almost all of the energy the country needs for heating, lighting, and industry comes from renewable sources. This unique success is made possible by the island's geography and geology. About 70% of all energy in Iceland comes from geothermal sources. Hot groundwater is used to heat homes, greenhouses, and even swimming pools. Geothermal plants extract heat directly from the ground, converting it into electricity, which has virtually no harmful impact on the environment. The remaining 30% of energy is generated by hydroelectric power plants running on Iceland's mighty rivers. Iceland's energy independence allows it to not only meet its own needs, but also export knowledge and technology to other countries. This approach significantly reduces carbon emissions, making Iceland one of the greenest places on the planet. Iceland's unique energy model inspires other countries to transition to more sustainable energy sources. Fact 3. The Northern Lights are a dance of light in the sky. Iceland is one of the best places on Earth to see the aurora borealis. This mesmerizing natural phenomenon, known as the Northern Lights or aurora borealis, attracts thousands of tourists from all over the world. From September to the end of March, the Icelandic sky is often illuminated by a dance of green, pink, purple, and even reddish lights. The aurora borealis is caused by the interaction of the solar wind with the Earth's magnetic field, which directs charged particles toward the poles. Iceland, located close to the North Pole, is an ideal location to observe the phenomenon. The aurora is most often seen in remote locations away from city lights. Popular locations include Thingvellir National Park, Jökulsárlón Lagoon, and the Snæfellsnes Peninsula. For Icelanders, the Northern Lights are more than just a natural phenomenon. Since ancient times, they have been surrounded by myths and legends. People believe that the lights in the sky were a dance of spirits or an omen of something important. Today, they remain a symbol of the magical beauty of the country and a powerful source of inspiration for artists, writers, and photographers. Fact 4. Iceland has no army. Iceland is one of the few countries in the world that does not have an army. This peace-loving state relies on diplomatic relations and cooperation with other countries. Instead of an army, The country has a coast guard that protects the sea borders and ensures the safety of fishing zones, which are so important for the Icelandic economy. The decision not to create an army was made after World War II. Iceland became a member of NATO in 1949, but its defense is provided by allied countries such as the United States. The country even hosted an American military base in Keflavik, which operated until 2006. Icelanders are proud of their neutrality and believe that their non-military nature enhances their reputation as a peaceful and safe country. It also allows them to spend their budget on education, healthcare, and environmental projects, making the country a role model for sustainability and social values. Fact 5. Iceland is the birthplace of geysers. The name geyser comes from the Icelandic hot spring geyser, which is located in the Haukadalur Valley. This natural phenomenon is a fountain of hot water and steam that bursts out of the ground, creating a spectacular show. Geyser itself, which gave its name to all the geysers in the world, is periodically active, but next to it is its younger brother, Strokr, which erupts every 5–10 minutes, throwing water to a height of up to 30 meters. Geysers are the result of geothermal activity associated with Iceland's location at the junction of two tectonic plates, the Eurasian and North American. The Earth's crust is thinner in these areas, allowing magma to heat underground water to high temperatures. This process turns Iceland into a veritable natural cauldron, from which geysers, fumaroles, and hot springs erupt. A visit to the Haukadalur Valley is a must for tourists. Watching the geysers erupt allows you to feel the power and strength of nature, as well as touch the ancient geology of our planet. Geysers have become not only a natural symbol of the country, but also a source of inspiration for local legends and culture. Fact 6. Women's Day is a symbol of equality every year. Iceland has become known worldwide as one of the most progressive countries in gender equality. One of the most striking examples of the fight for women's rights was the historic day of October 24, 1975, when 90% of Icelandic women stopped working, cooking, and doing housework. This large-scale action, known as Women's Day, demonstrated the importance of women's contribution to society and the country's economy. This action became a turning point in Icelandic history. As a result, the country began actively implementing laws on equal pay and representation of women in politics. In 1980, Iceland became the first country in the world to elect a female president, Vigdís Finnbogadóttir, who became a symbol of the fight for women's rights. Today, Women's Day is celebrated annually and serves as a reminder of the importance of equality. Iceland has ranked first in the Global Gender Equality Index for many years in a row, proving that social change is possible if you fight for it. The day inspires women around the world and serves as an example for other countries. Fact 7. The Icelandic language has not changed in 1,000 years. The Icelandic language is a veritable time machine, preserved almost unchanged since the Viking Age. Modern Icelanders can freely read ancient texts, such as sagas, written over 1,000 years ago. This unique phenomenon is due to the country's isolation and attention to preserving cultural heritage. Unlike other languages which have borrowed many foreign words over time, Icelanders prefer to create new terms based on existing words and roots. For example, instead of using the English word computer, Icelandic has the word tölva, which is made up of roots meaning number and diviner. State policy actively supports the language. All new technologies and terms are adapted to Icelandic grammar. Even children in schools study ancient texts, which helps strengthen the connection between generations and their history. For Icelanders, their language is not just a means of communication, but also an important part of the national identity. Fact 8. Iceland's waterfalls are a natural wonder of the world. Iceland is famous for its waterfalls, which decorate its unique landscape. There are hundreds of waterfalls on the island, and each of them has its own unique beauty. Among the most famous are Seljalandsfoss, Gullfoss, and Dettifoss. Seljalandsfoss is one of the most visited waterfalls in the country. What makes it unique is that you can walk along a path behind it, enjoying the view of the falling water from an unusual angle. Gullfoss, known as the Golden Waterfall, amazes with its power and two cascades that, falling, create a rainbow on sunny days. And Dettifoss, one of the most powerful waterfalls in Europe, impresses with its roar and the volume of water falling from a height. Waterfalls in Iceland are not just natural objects but also part of mythology. The Vikings believed that they were the entrance to the realm of spirits, or a place of power. Today, the waterfalls remain a popular destination for tourists and photographers who seek to capture them in their pristine splendor. Their majestic beauty is a true miracle of nature, which makes Iceland unique. Fact 9. The purest drinking water straight from nature. Iceland boasts some of the cleanest and tastiest drinking water in the world. This precious resource comes from underground springs and glaciers that filter the water naturally through porous layers of volcanic rock. This makes the water completely safe to drink without any additional treatment. Locals are proud of their natural wealth and even believe that tap water is better and cleaner than any bottled water. Tourists are often surprised to learn that you can drink water from any tap or even from streams and rivers in the wild. This level of water purity is explained by Iceland's strict environmental standards and the absence of polluting industrial facilities. However, there is one peculiarity about the water in Iceland. The hot water coming from geothermal sources sometimes has a slight smell of sulfur. This is due to the natural process of hydrogen sulfide being released from underground hot springs. Despite the smell, the water remains completely safe for use. This peculiarity becomes part of the Icelandic experience, and tourists quickly get used to this natural phenomenon. Iceland actively protects its water resources, considering them not only part of its natural heritage, but also an important element of national culture. Every sip of this crystal-clear water allows you to feel close to nature, which makes a trip to Iceland even more special. Fact 10. Kinship testing is a unique Icelandic tradition. Iceland has a unique database called Icelandingabók, Book of Icelanders, which allows anyone to check their family ties with other people. This unusual project was created to preserve the history of family roots, as well as to help avoid accidental marriages between relatives, which is especially important for a small country with a limited population. Icelandingabók covers the genealogy of almost all Icelanders, all the way back to the settlement of the island in the 9th century. Residents can quickly find out how close their connections are to other people simply by using a special app. The database is especially popular among young people, who sometimes joke that before a first date, it's worth checking whether they are distantly related. However, Icelandingabók is not only a tool for personal testing. It also serves as an important scientific resource. The unique data on pedigrees helps geneticists study hereditary diseases and conduct research in the field of evolution. For Icelanders, their ancestry is more than just information. It is a history of the country, woven into the lives of generations. This database reminds everyone of their roots, strengthens national identity, and maintains a connection to Iceland's rich past. Fact 11. The national dish is fermented shark. Iceland is famous for its unusual national dish, fermented shark, known as hakkarl. This delicacy evokes mixed emotions among tourists, but for locals it symbolizes endurance and the ability to survive in harsh conditions. The process of preparing hakkarl is related to the fact that the meat of the Greenland shark is poisonous in its raw form due to its high urea content. To make it edible, the fish is first buried in the ground for several weeks or even months, and then hung out to dry in the open air. As a result of this treatment, the toxic substances are destroyed and the meat becomes safe for consumption. The taste of hakarl is an acquired taste. Some describe it as strongly ammoniacal and spicy, while others find it charming. Locals are proud of the dish, as it reminds them of their ancestors' survival in difficult conditions when sharks were one of the few available sources of protein. You can try hakarl on special gastronomic tours or in traditional restaurants. For tourists, this is a kind of test of courage and an opportunity to feel the spirit of Icelandic culture. Despite its specific taste, hakarl remains an important part of Icelandic identity and a symbol of respect for tradition. Fact 12. Hollywood loves Iceland. Iceland has become a true mecca for world cinema thanks to its unique landscapes. Black sand beaches, majestic glaciers, volcanoes, and geysers create the perfect backdrop for epic films and TV series. That is why the country often becomes a filming location for Hollywood blockbusters. Iconic scenes from the Game of Thrones series were filmed in Iceland. For example, the icy lands beyond the wall were filmed on the Vatnajökull Glacier and in the Thingvellir Valley. Also, films such as Prometheus, Interstellar, and Alien. Covenant used Icelandic landscapes to create alien worlds. Iceland offers ideal conditions for film crews, stunning views, accessible filming locations, and support from local authorities. The country also offers tax incentives for filmmakers, making it even more attractive to major studios. For tourists who want to feel like movie heroes, special excursions to filming locations are organized. This allows you to see Iceland through the eyes of directors and touch the magic of cinema. Icelandic landscapes are becoming not only part of the world heritage, but also a powerful tool for popularizing the country. Fact 13. Belief in elves is part of the culture. Iceland is a country where belief in elves and hidden people, huldufolk, is not just superstition, but an important part of the culture. According to local legends, elves live in rocks, hills, and other natural objects. And although many Icelanders take these stories with a grain of humor, a significant part of the population still respects these traditions. This belief is so deeply rooted in society that it sometimes affects real life. For example, the construction of roads or buildings may be delayed or rescheduled if stones are found along the way that locals believe may be elven homes. In some cases, authorities even hire specialists, so-called elf guides, who help negotiate with the inhabitants of natural objects. Tourists can take special tours of places associated with elven legends or even visit museums dedicated to these mythical creatures. For many travelers, this becomes an interesting way to learn about the country's folklore. The belief in elves adds even more charm to Iceland and shows how closely its inhabitants are connected to nature and their traditions. Fact 14. Iceland is a leader in gender equality. Iceland has been ranked first in the world in the Gender Equality Index for over a decade in a row. The country has become a model for how to successfully fight for equal rights for men and women. Iceland has many events in its history that have cemented its reputation as a leader in this area. One such historic moment was Women's Day, held on October 24, 1975, when most women in Iceland stopped working and doing housework. This action highlighted the importance of women's work and led to significant social change. In 1980, Iceland became the first country in the world to elect a female president, Vigdís Finnbogadóttir. Her leadership became a symbol of equality and inspired women around the world. Today, Iceland has strict laws that guarantee equal pay for men and women, as well as high representation of women in politics and business. For Icelanders, gender equality is not just a right, but a cultural norm. Government programs and public support help women and men combine careers with family. This approach has made Iceland a model for other countries and an inspiration for millions of people around the world. Fact 15. Libraries are the foundation of Icelandic culture. Iceland is considered one of the most reading countries in the world. Every town and village has a library, which plays an important role in the life of the community. Reading is a national tradition here, and before Christmas the country plunges into a book flood, jólabókaflóð, when people buy books en masse to give as gifts. The tradition began during World War II, when books became the most affordable gift. Since then, Christmas has been associated with cozy evenings reading and drinking hot chocolate. Libraries in Iceland are not just places to read, but also cultural centers where lectures, writers' meetings, and discussions take place. Literature plays an important role in the lives of Icelanders, and books and sagas have become symbols of their rich cultural heritage.